everyone, it's Christina with My Confection Obsession, and today I'm going to be making a Salvador Dalí inspired cake. So I'm making this cake because Dalí has always been one of my favorite artists ever since I was introduced to him in my high school humanities class, and I knew that I wanted to make a cake that was inspired by some of his most famous paintings. So to get started, in front of me I have two crumb-coated cakes, and I'm going to be using two different paintings of Dalí's for the inspiration. So the bottom layer is going to actually be inspired by the Persistence of Memory. The top tier is going to be the Meditative Rose. So these cakes are firm and they just came out of the fridge. So what I'm going to do is give them a coat of buttercream frosting and the colors inspired by the paintings. So I'm going to start with some brown, followed by some yellow, and then some blue. So I'm not very worried about getting this exact. The lines can kind of blur together with the different colors. So that's actually a little bit less pressure because I don't feel like it has to be perfectly even lines by any means. So I have the base for the clocks cake, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a similar thing for our top tier for the rose cake. So these cakes have similar color schemes, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to darken my brown and lighten my yellow, and I'm going to do the same thing for this cake. know there's gonna be a few areas that I need to touch up, so I'm gonna put this into the fridge to chill it for a little bit so I can go over those areas with a little bit more frosting. Okay, so now that I have the base of my cakes done with the different color scheme of Dalí's paintings, what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and just stack them, because as I start putting the fondant pieces on, I want to make sure that the sizing and placement is correct. So I know I'm gonna definitely have to go in and pipe some frosting to clean up the edges, but this way I can see when I start putting like my melting clocks on and my rose, exactly how it's gonna look in proportion with the cake. All right, so my next step is I'm actually going to start making the melting clock. So for this, I did cut out a template, like I just printed off the painting, because I just wanted the exact shape of the clock. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it out with fondant and then fold it over the top here. So for this is just like the lightest shade of blue that I'll be using. I used my own marshmallow fondant recipe for this, which will be in the show notes. focus on is the clock that's like draping over the tree branch. So what I have here is I just took a cake dowel and I used some hot glue to make this shape. I don't really like to put non-edible things on my cake, but I felt like for this I was gonna need to because I needed it to be really stable to be able to hold the weight of the clock. So I'm just gonna cover this with some fondant, with some tan fondant. This clock actually has silver accents, so I'm gonna use my silver metallic paint. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a big red fondant rose to put right here for a meditative rose painting. So to start this off, I'm going to make a little sphere for the center of our rose. And I am gonna use a little piece of wire through here because I think what I want to do is stick this through the front of the cake on an angle. So I'm just using some petal cutters, and I'll make sure to link these in the show notes. As I keep attaching them, I'm going to start to leave the top open just a little bit. Then, if these are too thick, I'm going to thin it out. So as my rose grows, I'm going to use the bigger petal cutters. So you can see my fondant rose really came together. I didn't even have to use any Wilton dab and hold to stick this together. It just kind of sticks to itself. And so before I place this on my cake, I am going to want to do a few more details. So I am going to want to paint a cloud here before I place my rose. So I'm just using white food coloring. It's actually icing whitener. So I am going to pipe a little bit of frosting here just to make this look cleaner. I'm going to touch up a few spots with some food coloring mixed with vodka here, and then I think my cake will be complete. Alright, so my Dalí cake is done and I love how it turned out. You can see I did pipe a little bit of extra frosting around the edges just to make it look a little bit cleaner. And I do have to give a shout out to my friend Jenny, who had the Meditative Rose poster on her wall when we lived together after college. So I hope that she likes this cake. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this episode. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter.